My dear friends, beginning early today, the eyes of the world have been watching on television and other means of communication to see what is happening in the Vatican and in the eternal city of Rome. For on the 11th of this month, our Holy Father announced that he would step down as Holy Father on this date, the 28th of February at 8 p.m. Rome time. Less than 2 hours, his pontificate will end, and the Church will once again enter into that solemn process of identifying and accepting a new Holy Father. Yesterday, in St. Peter's Square, our Holy Father, his last audience as Pope in the Vatican, talked about that he realized as he grew in the job of being Pope, that he was Pope for the world. Dignitaries from one country after another, religious leaders from many different faiths, and ordinary people who received him, welcomed him, wrote to him, and in his words, they did so as he was their father or he was their brother. A very touching presentation yesterday of the man that we were fortunate to have as our spiritual leader just short of 8 years. Jesus taught us that the greatest love of all was love of God and love of neighbor. And certainly the example of our Holy Father Benedict exemplifies that by not only his deeds, but his words. And in a particular way, that beautiful first encyclical that he wrote as Pope, Deus Caritas Est, God is love. My dear friends, today I would like to suggest that we remember him as a genuine human being, a person who gave his all to God and his church, motivated by love. A man who loved bringing God to others. And a man who knew his strengths, but also knew his limitations. He didn't try to cover them, but in a very humble way admitted them to the entire world. And yet he knew that there was something more important, and that there was something and some person more important than himself. And that was the underpinning that gave him the strength to say, I cannot do it. What an example of honesty. What a wonderful example of acknowledging what is greater than oneself. An example that I trust will not be lost upon all of us. My dear friends, he will be having some rest, and then he will take up residence again in the Vatican, as we are told, as a Pope Emeritus. His prayers will be with us his example will live on in our lives, I hope. For we have been enriched by the ministry, by the faith, hope, and charity of this wonderful shepherd who has led us well.
Reconciliation, we pray, O Lord, advance the peace and salvation of all the world. Be pleased to confirm in faith and charity your pilgrim church on earth, with your servant Benedict, our Pope, and Richard, our Bishop, the order of bishops, all the clergy, and the entire people you have gained for your own.